The Tempest, Act 3, Scene 3, lines 1 to 52. In this part, we journey with Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, Adrian, and Francisco towards Prospero's hut. Let us listen to the audio.
Scene 3. Another part of the island. Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, Adrian, Francisco, and others.
By our lack, and I can go no further, sir. My old bones ache. Here's a maze trod indeed, through forthrights and meanders. By your patience I needs must rest me.
O Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope, and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned, whom thus we stray to find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
Aside to Sebastian.
I am right glad that he's so out of hope. Do not, for one repulse, forego the purpose that you resolve to effect.
Aside to Antonio.
The next advantage we will take it throughly.
Aside to Sebastian.
Let it be tonight. For now they are oppressed with travel, they will not, nor cannot, use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
Aside to Antonio.
I say tonight, no more.
Solemn and strange music.
What harmony is this? My good friends, hark!
Marvelous sweet music.
Enter Prospero above, invisible. Enter several strange shapes, bringing in a banquet. They dance about it with gentle actions of salutation, and, inviting the king, etc., to eat, they depart.
Give us kind keepers, heavens! What were these?
A living drollery. Now I will believe that there are unicorns, that in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both. And what does else want credit? Come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travellers ne'er did lie, though fools at home condemn 'em.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes these are people of the island, who, though they are of monstrous shape, yet, note, their manners are more gentle kind than of our human generation you shall find many, nay, almost any.
Aside.
Honest Lord, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils.
I cannot too much muse. Such shape, such gesture, and such sound, expressing, although they want the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
Aside.
Praise in departing.
They vanished, strangely.
No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs. Would please you taste of what is here?
Not I.
Faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that there were mountaineers dewlapped like bulls, whose throats had hanging at 'em wallets of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5 for 1 will bring us good warrant of.
I will stand to and feed, although my last. No matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the Duke, stand to and do as we.
Let us now look at the text in detail. In this scene, we are on another part of the island where, after a tiresome journey from the ship to the land and the ordeal in which Antonio and Sebastian seek to kill the king Alonso, they're continuing to go towards Prospero's house, where Ariel, although invisible, is leading them. So in the scene we have Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, Adrian, and Francisco, and others, of course. So Gonzalo begins saying, "By Larkin, I can go no further, sir. My old bones ache. Here's a maze trod indeed, through forthrights and meanders. By your patience I needs must rest me." So what's he saying? He says, I swear I cannot go any further, sir. My old bones are aching. We are wandering in a maze. We don't know where we are going. If you don't mind, I need to rest a bit. And Alonso is himself very tired, and he says, Old Lord, I cannot blame thee. Who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirit? Sit down and rest. He says, I cannot blame you, old Lord. I am so tired myself that it's bringing me down. Sit down and rest. Even here, I will put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned. Whom does we stray to find? And the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go. I'm losing hope. The one we are looking for is dead. We are searching on land, but the sea where he is lost is mocking us because we are looking for him on land. We have to give up and let him go. So when Alonso makes such statements, as though he has lost hope, as though he is believing now that his son is dead, the two people who are most happy with this statement are Sebastian and Antonio. And now they begin talking to each other. So Antonio says to Sebastian in a quiet way, I'm right glad that he is so out of hope. Do not for one repulse forgo the purpose that we resolved to effect. He says, I'm glad he's so depressed and he has begun to believe that his son is dead. Don't back out of our plan just because it didn't work the first time. Do not for one repulse, do not back out from or give up from the purpose that we set out to do. And Sebastian says, the next advantage will we take truly. He says, when the next advantage comes, we will do a very clean job of it. And Antonio says, let it be tonight. Antonio is in a hurry. He says, let it be tonight. For now they are oppressed with travel. They will not nor cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh. He says, we have to do it tonight because they are very tired of the journey, tired from this journey. And they will not be vigilant as when they are fresh. And Sebastian says, I say tonight, no more. He says, yeah, we'll do it tonight and don't say anything more. And when this is being talked about, there is a solemn music comes. And whenever we hear solemn music in this play, we know that Ariel is doing some trick. Now Alonso hears this music and he says, what harmony is this? My good friends, hark, he says, listen to this music. What harmony? Marvelous sweet music, says Gonzalo. Now, as the music being played, there enter different shapes from heaven, from the sky, bringing in a banquet. Now, remember, all these people are very hungry. So these different shapes, different spirits bringing in this big banquet from the sky, the 6 men and the others are shocked to see it. And these shapes come and keep this dinner on a table and invite the king and his company to eat. Give us kind keepers, heavens. Now Alonso is a bit afraid. He says, give us kinder guardian angels. What were these? He says he's totally shocked to see these kind of shapes. Sebastian, a living drollery, he says, a living entertainment. Now I will believe that there are unicorns, that in Arabia there is one tree, one phoenix throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there. After looking at this, I can believe that there are unicorns and there is a phoenix's throne in Arabia, and Phoenix itself is ruling there. Antonio, I'll believe both. That means unicorn and Phoenix, the existence of Phoenix. I'll believe both. And what does else want credit? Come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. He says, what else do you want me to believe? And after this I can believe anything. Travelers ne'er did lie, though fools at home condemned them. So he says, now I have begun to realize that travelers, when they told us stories about Phoenix and unicorns, we made a fool of them, but never they were wrong. And Gonzalo looks at them and comments. He says, if in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes these are people of the island, who though they are of monstrous shape, yet note, their manners are more gentle kind than of human generation. You shall find many, nay, almost any. He says, look at these. Who would believe in Naples if I reported them of seeing such shapes on this island? And I'm certain that these are islanders. But these, although they are of monstrous shapes, look at their manners, so gentle. It is very hard, hardly any human beings would have these kind of gentle manners. I don't think we find any, he says. But Prospero is looking at these guys from far, and he says to himself, honest Lord, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils. So adding a comment from a distance, no one hears this, of course. He says to himself, he says, yes, well said, Gonzalo. In fact, among you there are some just like the devils, he says. I cannot too much muse such shapes, such gestures, and such sound, expressing, although they want the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse. He says, I cannot stop being amazed by these shapes, sounds, and gestures, which express, even without saying anything, a wonderful kind of silent language. But Prospero, being their commander, being the commander of those spirits, says, praise and departing. He says, time to go. And he chases them away from the food and the group there. They vanished strangely. As soon as they vanish, this is the comment made by Francesco. No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs, will please you taste of what is here. So he says, all right, since they left their food behind, we don't have to worry about anything because we are hungry, we can eat it. Would you like to taste the banquet? He asks his brother, the king. Not I, says Alonso. But Gonzalo, being the man he is, convinces Alonso by saying, faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that there were mountaineers dew-lapped like bulls, whose throats had hanging at them wallets of flesh? He says, I assure you, sir, you don't have to worry about at all. Can you imagine when we were boys, who would believe that there were mountain people with rolls of skins around their necks, with their throats hanging down? Or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5 for 1 will bring us good warrant of. He says, for that matter, who would have believed that some people had their heads in their chests? Nowadays, travelers commonly report of those things exist. Putter out of 5 for 1 is a phrase for traveler. And he says, nowadays, all travelers are witness to these things, such things. And we never believed that. Alonso's, I will stand to and feed, although my last, no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my Lord the Duke, stand to and do as we. He says, I'll start eating. Finally, Alonso is convinced by Gonzalo's words, and he says, I'll start eating. Even if this is my last supper, it's all right, since the best part of my life was over anyway. Brother Duke, please have some food, he says to Sebastian. So that's the end of this section. Thank you.